James Marshall, Jimi Hendrix was born Johnny Allen Hendrix, November 27, 1942 and died September 18, 1970. He was an American rock guitarist, singer, and songwriter. Although his mainstream career lasted only 4 years, he is widely regarded as one of the most influential guitarists in history and one of the most celebrated musicians of the 20th century. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame describes him as the greatest instrumentalist in the history of rock music. Born in Seattle, Washington, Hendrix began playing guitar at age 15. In 1961, he enlisted in the U.S. Army and trained as a paratrooper in the 101st Airborne Division, but he was discharged the following year. He moved to Clarksville, Tennessee soon after and began playing gigs on the Chitlin Circuit, earning a place in the Isley Brothers backing band and later with Little Richard, with whom he continued to work through mid-1965. He played with Curtis Knight and the Squires before moving to England in late 1966 after being discovered by Linda Keith, who interested bassist Chas Chandler of The Animals in becoming his first manager. Within months, Hendrix earned 3 UK top 10 hits with the Jimi Hendrix Experience, Hey Joe, Purple Haze, and The Wind Cries Mary. He achieved fame in the US after his performance at the Monterey Pop Festival in 1967, and his third and final studio album Electric Ladyland reached #1 in the US in 1968. It was Hendrix's most commercially successful release and his only #1 album. He was the world's highest-paid performer, and he headlined the Woodstock Festival in 1969 and the Isle of Wight Festival in 1970. He died from barbiturate-related asphyxia on September 18, 1970, at age 27. Hendrix was inspired by American rock and roll and electric blues. He favored overdriven amplifiers with high volume and gain, and was instrumental in popularizing the previously undesirable sounds caused by guitar amplifier feedback. He was also one of the first guitarists to make extensive use of tone-altering effects units in mainstream rock, such as fuzz distortion, octavia, wah-wah, and uni-vibe. He was the first musician to use stereophonic phasing effects in recordings. Holly George Warren of Rolling Stone writes, Hendrix pioneered the use of the instrument as an electronic sound source. Players before him had experimented with feedback and distortion, but Hendrix turned those effects and others into a controlled, fluid vocabulary every bit as personal as the blues with which he began. In 1967, readers of Melody Maker voted Hendrix the Pop Musician of the Year, and Rolling Stone declared him the Performer of the Year in 1968. Disc and Music Echo magazine honored him with the World Top Musician of 1969, and Guitar Player named him the Rock Guitarist of the Year in 1970. The Jimi Hendrix Experience was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1992 and the UK Music Hall of Fame in 2005. Rolling Stone ranked the band's 3 studio albums among the 100 greatest albums of all time, and ranked Hendrix the greatest guitarist and the 6th greatest artist of all time. As an adolescent in the 1950s, Hendrix became interested in rock and roll artists such as Elvis Presley, Little Richard, and Chuck Berry. In 1968, he told Guitar Player magazine that electric blues artists Muddy Waters, Elmore James, and B.B. King inspired him during the beginning of his career. He also cited Eddie Cochran as an early influence. Of Muddy Waters, the first electric guitarist of which Hendrix became aware, he said, I heard one of his records when I was a little boy and it scared me to death because I heard all of these sounds. In 1970, he told Rolling Stone that he was a fan of Western swing artist Bob Wills, and while he lived in Nashville, the television show The Grand Ole Opry, Cox stated that during their time serving in the U.S. military, he and Hendrix primarily listened to Southern blues artists such as Jimmy Reed and Albert King. According to Cox, King was a very, very powerful influence. Howlin' Wolf also inspired Hendrix, who performed Wolf's "Killing Floor" as the opening song of his U.S. debut at the Monterey Pop Festival. The influence of soul artist Curtis Mayfield can be heard in Hendrix's guitar playing, and the influence of Bob Dylan can be heard in Hendrix's songwriting. He was known to play Dylan's records repeatedly, particularly Highway 61 Revisited and Blonde on Blonde. The Experience's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame biography states, Jimi Hendrix was arguably the greatest instrumentalist in the history of rock music. Hendrix expanded the range and vocabulary of the electric guitar into areas no musician had ever ventured before. His boundless drive, technical ability and creative application of such effects as wah-wah and distortion forever transformed the sound of rock and roll. Musicologist Andy Aladort described Hendrix as one of the most creative and influential musicians that has ever lived. Music journalist Chuck Phillips wrote, "In a field almost exclusively populated by white musicians, Hendrix has served as a role model for a cadre of young black rockers. His achievement was to reclaim title to a musical form pioneered by black innovators like Little Richard and Chuck Berry in the 1950s. Hendrix received several prestigious rock music awards during his lifetime and posthumously. In 1967, readers of Melody Maker voted him the Pop Musician of the Year. In 1968, Rolling Stone declared him the Performer of the Year. Also in 1968, the city of Seattle gave him the keys to the city. Disc and Music Echo newspaper honored him with the World Top Musician of 1969, and in 1970 Guitar Player magazine named him the Rock Guitarist of the Year. A star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame was dedicated to Hendrix on November 14, 1991, at 6627 Hollywood Boulevard. The Jimi Hendrix Experience was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1992, and the UK Music Hall of Fame in 2005. In 1998, Hendrix was inducted into the Native American Music Hall of Fame during its first year. In 1999, readers of Rolling Stone and Guitar World ranked Hendrix among the most important musicians of the 20th century. In 2005, his debut album, Are You Experienced?, was one of 50 recordings added that year to the United States National Recording Registry in the Library of Congress, to be preserved for all time, as part of the nation's audio legacy. In Seattle, November 27, 1992, which would have been Hendrix's 50th birthday, was made Jimi Hendrix Day, largely due to the efforts of his boyhood friend, guitarist Sammy Drain. The blue plaque identifying Hendrix's former residence at 23 Brook Street, London, next door to the former residence of George Frederick Handel, was the first issued by English Heritage to commemorate a pop star. A memorial statue of Hendrix playing a Stratocaster stands near the corner of Broadway and Pine Streets in Seattle. In May 2006, the city renamed a park near its Central District Jimi Hendrix Park, in his honor. In 2012, an official historic marker was erected on the site of the July 1970 Second Atlanta International Pop Festival near Byron, Georgia. The marker text reads, in part, over 30 musical acts performed, including rock icon Jimi Hendrix playing to the largest American audience of his career. Hendrix's music has received a number of Hall of Fame Grammy Awards, starting with a Lifetime Achievement Award in 1992, followed by 2 Grammys in 1999 for his albums Are You Experienced and Electric Ladyland. Axis, Bold as Love received a Grammy in 2006. In 2000, he received a Hall of Fame Grammy Award for his original composition, Purple Haze, and in 2001, for his recording of Dylan's All Along the Watchtower. Hendrix's rendition of The Star-Spangled Banner was honored with a Grammy in 2009. The United States Postal Service issued a commemorative postage stamp honoring Hendrix in 2014. On August 21, 2016, Jimi Hendrix was inducted into the Rhythm and Blues Music Hall of Fame in Dearborn, Michigan. The James Marshall, Jimi Hendrix United States Post Office in Renton Highlands near Seattle, about a mile from Hendrix's grave and memorial, was renamed for Hendrix in 2019. On June 23, 2019, the Band of Gypsies were inducted into the Rhythm and Blues Music Hall of Fame, at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History in Detroit, Michigan. Billy Cox, the last surviving member of the group, was on hand to accept, along with representatives of the Buddy Miles and Hendrix estates.
I think that's an interesting thing.
This one piece will make 52 layers.
Watch on mobile devices or the big screen. All for free. No subscription required.
Hi folks, Brian May here. Ask me the question, who is my rock god? It's easy. It's Jimi Hendrix, who in my opinion cannot have been from this planet. It's something extraordinary from some other place in the cosmos. And if they all play guitar like that out there, I want to go there. Yeah, he will always be my hero, my rock god, without a doubt. I wish he was around today. I wonder what he would have been doing.
Right now, but we'll run it down. Mitch Mitchell, Jimi Hendrix, Noel Redding. You have not been to Vancouver before, but you have been to Canada. Did you play Montreal or the coast at one time?
Yeah, we did. We played Montreal on this tour that we're on now. It's a really nice tour.
Did you?
What else did we play? Toronto too?
Yeah, right. Just one night?
Yeah, not in Ontario, so we did 3 places.
Anything different from the audiences you've been used to?
Not necessarily. There was more raving, like, you know. There's more on their toes than some audiences, you know. But that's because we probably haven't played there before.
Yeah. What about the music, though? Did they know the music? Did they seem to appreciate it?
Seems English to me, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's rather like going out, maybe if you go to the depths of England up north, like, you know, they haven't seen you before, maybe look quite wild.
They listen to the music.
They were, as far as Canada is concerned, they were almost the last to pick up on your music. It seems they were almost hesitant to do it.
Probably because they didn't hear it. They was probably the last ones to hear it, probably. Canada's always the last. They don't get the records up here as quick as some people's certain types of records. Do they still have Dawson Annex School here?
Do they still have what?
Dawson School. Dawson Annex.
Yes. Yes.
Right, I used to go there.
We,
In the good old days.
you have relatives up here, do you not?
Yeah, they're outside.
Is there still a family thing going on?
What do you mean by that?
No, all right, okay.
Well, what do you mean? You mean, do I still have a family?
No, do you, I know you don't get back here often or goes back at all, but do you recognize most of these people from there?
Well, like, I know what my family looks like quite naturally. I just don't get a chance to see them until maybe we play here. You know, this is only the second time in about 8 years I've seen, you know, my dad and mother and sisters and so forth. And like my grandmother and her boyfriend and my cousins are out there now, you know, and I haven't seen them yet. They're out there. I'll see them later on tonight.
Does anything change when the family's in front of you? For any one of you?
I don't know, really. We've all done, we did a tour once in England and we did a show in London and we had the same thing. My parents came up and Mitch's parents came up, you know. And, hello, Mum.
Not that much as you'd like to possibly. But the current thing that's happening over there where they started a rock revival and then they did something else, do you find that it's starting to sway like your home base, the music that was coming out of there? Are they sort of uncertain as what they're doing over there? Because there's something definitely happening with underground music.
there's always something happening in England.
Yeah, there's always something happening, but I mean, underground music, you know, music's music. We don't know, it's the same all over the world.
It's a strange way, so.
Classics.
Because like after the Beatles like took it back, so you know, after they sat down for a while, and then it got really mixed up. Like, you know, there's different things coming up. They got the Traffic and the Family, all these groups that you don't hear about all the time, you know. They're happening as far as music-wise, but as far as, you know, they're really stuck up on like ballads and pop, you know, pop. They're all screwed up right now. So.
You think it'll straighten out?
Yeah, as soon as we get over there, it'll straighten out.
What are you going to do? You have another LP coming?
Yeah, a double working on it. It's finished, completely finished. It'll be out in about 10 days.
So that, yeah.
It's called Electric Lady now.
Electric Lady?
Yeah.
No, did you do anything? Sorry. Did you do anything on the LP that?
Teeny little song.
Did you get a chance to sing it? Yeah. Did you sing it?
Yeah, he has a song called Little Miss Strange. This is the beginning track on one of the sides. It's a fourth-sided LP. He has a beginning track on one of the sides. He let Mitch singing the excuse me.
Is that a cold hay fever?
No, this is a change of climate. You
Yeah.
know, coming from was it Salt Lake all the way to Denver, and then to Los Angeles, you know, and all this place, you know. But like him and Mitch are singing this English rock type thing. It's called Little Strange. It's a good song.
This revival in the blues and this mention I
It's
made.
famous revival. I'm playing, you know, all I know. You know, I'm just playing the way I feel. If it sounds like blues, well then, you know, call it anything you want. But it's no revival, kid. Because why go back into the past? You know, why go back there and drag out blue suede shoes? Just because it's supposed to be hip to revive rock, you know, which is a drag in the first place. Because those people that made in there, you know, they're not offering you anything this very instant, are they? There's so many musicians right now playing 20 times better than any Chuck Berry or any Fat Stone or anybody. I'm not putting these people down. I'm just saying that the music is better now, and people just don't even know it. It's right in their faces. They don't even know how to accept it because it's, you know, it's just so much better. And they have to have given like certain imagery to go by. If they don't have these things to go by, then they don't know nothing about music. That's the way some people think, which is a big fat drag sometimes.
Do you ever surprise yourself in some of the things you come up with when you play?
Yeah.
Do you find yourself in a completely different
On
classics?
stage?
Yeah. Do you find yourself playing things that you've written for a long time? Does it come
I don't
back?
even know, because I don't really even think about what I'm actually playing or what I can play. I just want to listen to what Noel and Jimmy are playing and just dig that. Like, I hope they listen to me. Because actually, we never know what we're doing on stage, maybe until you might record it one night, listen to it, and then you might actually get some enjoyment from it. Maybe. You might just think it's a big fat drag.
We've been together for about 2 solid years, and we've been playing Purple Haze, One Cries Mary, what was it, Hey Joe, Foxy Lady. We've been playing all these songs, which I really think are groovy songs, but we've been playing all these songs for 2 years. So quite naturally, we start improvising here and there. And there's other things we want to turn on to the people, you know. As long as they're aware that we're trying to be a music group, regardless of what we might look like, or, you know.
If you had the chance to communicate one general idea to the American public, what would it be?
I guess it would be understanding and communication between the different age brackets, which is no such thing about age brackets anyway, not in my mind, because a person's not actually old in numbers of years, but how many miles he's traveled, you know, how he keeps his mind active and creative. And I guess that'd be one general idea. There's millions of them though. Can go.
Okay, fine. most people won't even answer that one. They'll feel bad. Number 2, when you're before a large audience and start to play, how do you feel inside? What sensations do you feel, if any?
Well, I really feel like I don't know, I really feel like turning people on, you know, quite naturally, on some kind of, at least entertainment, without being false about it, you know, without being a superficial clown or whatever you want to call it, I don't know. And like if they don't respond, well then I'll just play for myself, you know, and for the ones that will listen, if they do respond, well then this gives me more energy to work out, you know. It's another way of communication and trying to make harmony amongst the people enjoying what we're trying to get across, you know. Harmony is part of the first one too, anyway.
If you were not getting the desired response from an audience when you're on stage, what do? What would be your reaction to such a situation if this ever happened? Now, I've never seen it happen to you, so there may have been times when you thought you weren't getting the desired response.
Yeah. Well, I have an imagination, you know, and I feel that maybe they're not, they might not be ready for that particular thing. They might be coming to the concert as critics, you know, instead of as people, you know, wanting to get into some entertainment, and then from then on they could build it more. But like if there's no response at all, it doesn't bother me too much at all. It just makes me play a little more music, you know. See, you know, that's just the way I think. I think in no negative terms at all, because it takes up a whole lot of space in your mind, you know. And some people only use 1/10 of their brain capacity anyway. And so, you know, there's so much more room to think other good ways, you know, and try to turn them on regardless. It's just like a hospital. When a patient might be kicking, you know, he doesn't want an operation, and he knows good and well, you know, it might be good for him in the long run. But he's scared, and he's kicking around in the bed, and the nurses are trying to strap him down. Well, I'm the nurses, you know, trying to get him together and trying to prove to him that this is right.
What is your own personal philosophy of music? What effect do you want it to have on your audience?
Well, let's see. Personal philosophy. Well, my personal one is that's part of my life. You know, it's just a part of me, music itself. And the effect I like to have for it on the audience is maybe in a hypnotic state, if not an awakening state, you know. So therefore, that's why we don't preach necessarily violence unless it's a certain incidence in a song. It should have some kind of solution, you know, at the end of a song, every song that we give out to people, you know. Because it's almost all philosophy. Our music is, most of it is, in a very hazy form, because it's still progressing, you know. It's just like a little baby. And it hasn't even reached the stage that I call for it to walk by itself.
In your opinion, what is the best possible or desirable situation to bring this response about? These are very leading questions, I must tell you.
Well, sometimes when there's a lot of riots and so forth, that's still going to happen in the States, you know, and anywhere else for that matter. So therefore, when in the hottest parts of the country, they should allow these groups to play in an outdoor way. You know, I know that sounds suicidal, but it's not at all. Matter of fact, it's the best way to do anything. Is to bring only special groups, though, certain groups, because there's a lot of groups that are trying to, like I said before, keep harmony amongst people. So they either give them good time music or loud music so they can release their frustrations and so forth. Standing right next, you know, like black and white standing next to each other with hammers, getting ready to hit each other. And this music has a way. It's a universal language anyway. If it was respected properly, it would have a way to reach these people at the same time. And like it's a thing, like I think it should be brought outside, almost like the evangelist, you know, a gathering like that. The other music should stay in clubs, and you know, all the pretentious people in the music, well, they should just stay in their pretentious bag, like for instance in clubs and cabarets and all that. But see, there's a lot of elderly people want to know about what's happening in the new music today too. They want to know why people play so loud, you know, and they want to know this and want to know that. What's the best thing for them to do is come and hear certain groups. There's only certain groups that are trying to get across a harmony message anyway. And we're one of them.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Hello. Who is it? Tell me to stop. Stop. Keep down to 0.
What, you just take it off?
Yeah, I'll take it off and then down 0. Oh no, I just take it off.
I guess we won't hurt it. Okay, now, what social implications do you feel that rock music has brought to your generation?
I think probably it was good time music at first, like I said before, like with Little Richard, Chuck Berry, and Jerry Lee Lewis, and you can go on down the line, Elvis Presley and so forth. But then there's a lot of drugs that's dipped into it from the simple fact that rock musicians think different than other people, they live different than other people, so therefore they have different releases than other people. It's up to them themselves not to make it to escape, and some of this is seeped in through there. And I think some of the people that were on drugs, some of the regular people, well, like I said, some of the music seeped in, some of the, the drug scene seeped in through the music. And so therefore they felt it was a little better to do these things, like going into LSD or what have you, And so, but like it's settling down properly. And the whole idea in the first place for all these drugs and all the music and all the hang-ups is because of, like, everybody wants to be their own identification in some way or form, And some people couldn't find this in trying to talk to the parents or the so-called other generation, because they have a way of overprotecting their people so much as where they put them in boxes, and they put themselves in boxes, and that's not a right way of living, because younger people, their minds are a little more keener and they can figure this out. So therefore, since they can't get release and respect from the older people, then they go into these other things, and their music gets louder and it gets rebellious because it's starting to form a religion, and because you're not going to find it in church. A lot of kids, don't find nothing in church. I remember when I got thrown out of church because I had the improper clothes on. I had tennis shoes and a suit, and they said, well, that's not proper. So we don't have no money to get anything else. So I just got thrown out of church anyway, and it's nothing but an institution, so they're not going to find nothing there. And so then it moves on to trying to find yourself, So therefore, you see somebody look maybe kind of freaky or playing very radical, regardless if it's good or bad, And then quite naturally, they take up to this person or these people. It's up to the people to preach the proper thing to them through the music.
What do you feel has been your contribution to social change and the attitudes of young people that have been attributed to your music? Now, this is you personally.
I think, well, like I say, I never consider myself even started yet. That's for everybody else to say that you made it and all this. I don't consider I made it. But I do see, influences and all that. And it seems to me that it's just what I said before. It's just they're trying to find their own identification through us sometimes, which is not bad because we don't preach violence or aggression. This is a very good thing to have around. It's better than politics, They look up to us sometimes quicker than they would look up to what the president says, And, like clothes and so forth. Some people just want to wear these clothes, but that's not harmful at all. That's just a person, he's doing his own thing with his clothes and so forth. There's so many things that people just get misunderstood. We're trying to get across communication with the old and young, and I think some of them are finally understanding that part of it. And plus, we try to get across laziness on anybody's part, regardless if they're old or young. And that takes a few more songs and a few more gigs to get that across really strong enough. Because, I used to see a lot of people just sit around, get stoned, and not really, all they do is protest and not really try to do anything about it, I said, well, listen, you could be a dishwasher until you finally get yourself together. I said, yeah, but, and all this. They don't want to know about that, so I know where the trouble is. A lot of it's laziness. So then I work towards, so then I experience different things. I go through the hang up myself. And then what I find out, I write to other people because it has nothing to do with aggression or nothing like that anyway. Because that's just nothing but taking 2 steps back, And the other people have to realize this too, or else they're going to be fighting for the rest of their lives,
I used to teach high school dropouts.
Yeah,
I used to teach people of foreigners getting their citizenship papers too.
Yeah. Well, I was a high school
English to
dropout.
foreign-speaking students, so they could go to school.
I was glad I was a high school dropout for the simple fact that I think kids starting from kindergarten every 2 years should have a big annual a big test saying, you know, they should have.
You're from Seattle, I thought.
Yeah, what does that have to do with school, though? I'm talking about school.
No, well, I'm talking, regionals is what I was thinking of New York, where to get out of the 8th grade, they have a state board examination, and if you don't pass it, you're supposed to learn so much.
See, that's silly. That's rules and all that.
Isn't that a drag? I know.
It should be like every 2 years they should have a test, saying, about 20 pieces of paper, doing exactly what they want to do in that paper and saying what they want to say. And they should have people, the teachers that don't want to teach for the rest of their lives, but they progress too into other things. So they'll be the instructors to this certain thing that happens every 2 years. And then a kid could go to school when he's 11 years old. I mean, he can go to college or a special school by the time he's 11.
They do have them.
Yeah, well, they should have them all over the place. That's one thing about the old generation. They always go in between, and that's a hang-up. That's a drag.
Have you ever heard of a school, some type of school? It's called Summerhill.
Yeah, I heard of Summerhill. But that's not all over the states.
They have about 6 of them in Southern California. Well, of course, it isn't enough.
Yeah, for the benefit of even the teachers that get tired of this teaching the 2nd grade for the rest of their lives, for instance. They could progress just like kids do.
I know. I can go back to any of the schools that I go to and find people that taught me when I was a little kid, and they're still doing it. It's sad.
Right.
I mean, it's depressing.
That's being in a compartment. That's not really offering.
Well, okay. What, in your opinion, is the future of pop music?
Well, I don't like the word pop in the first place.
Well, okay.
All it means to me is pilgrimage of peace.
Okay. Well, we'll get down. Okay, what do you think the sound of the future will be then?
Well, I don't know. I'm not no critic. I can just only go by what I want. On my own side, I like to get into more symphonic things. So then kids can respect the old music, traditional, like classics. I like to mix that in with, with so-called rock today. But it's always changing according to the attitude of the people, When the air is static, loud, and aggressive, that's how the music gets. When the air starts getting peaceful and harmonic and so forth, that's how the music will get. So it's up to the people how it's going to be. But music is going to be here regardless if it's rock or whatever, And it's going to influence a whole lot of people's minds now because, like I said before, that's part of their church now.
Well, music is considered extremely emotional, and it's supposed to rid the individual of frustration. That's what they say.
Yeah, if people let it.
It does. It's marvelous.
Yeah, instead of trying to...
I can tell you that from my own experience. If I'm really uptight, I'm tense and everything, I go to somewhere like the whiskey and really enjoy myself.
Or they listen to Andy Williams or something. He's very relaxing, for instance,
I like very heavy music.
You do?
Particularly like yours.
Oh, that's great. Come with me and we'll go places.
I've followed your career for a long time.
That's good.
Okay. It says many authorities feel that the Sunset Strip to be, or has been, one of the prime innovators of the present reaction of youth against the establishment. What is your attitude toward the Strip and its people? What do you think Sunset Strip stands for in relation to the rock movement?
I think it stands for like a escape valve or a place to run away. Some people don't like to live up in the hills, That's just like being hermits, and that's running away from something. So they still hold a piece of the city, and they consider Sunset Strip of the sort. What do you call it? It's a place to let loose or something like that. And the people might as well own up to this. Or, they might as well face up to this. It's not actually a thing against the establishment. It's not that at all, because a lot of those kids down there I found out they're part of the establishment, It's nothing but, a lot of them are lazy down there. A lot of them are groovy, but the groovy ones don't preach as hard as the lazy ones do. And so therefore it's a big mess. But cleaning it up, running kids away from that is not going to help anything, You might as well just let it stay there and depend on the music to straighten it out. And then give the music some kind of respect as to where it can do these things, Because the more you send police anywhere, the more trouble you're going to have. Because some people haven't reached the point of thinking as a word. Retaliation is not the right, move, especially in aggression. So therefore you have to keep the pigs out. And then you find out that it turns out to be a very groovy place. Some people try to make something in people's park. The same thing's going to happen to the Sunset Strip with the right people there and with the right music produced upon it, People don't realize that music has so much to do with what's happening today, And you're not going to stop the music When I say you, though, I mean, whoever is listening through the microphone there, I can say you.
I know. When you put a microphone between you and somebody, there is an automatic different world, than if I were just sitting here on the couch talking to you.
Yeah.
I realize this.
Well, probably, if they want to know the truth about it, the best thing to do is listen to the music. And listen to ours. You don't have to buy it, you can listen to it.
Listen, I've seen you thousands of times, I've been on the strip since it started. The Birds,
Oh, I remember the Birds. Yeah, I was over in Cyril's.
I saw the Birds at Cyril's. I used to go every week.
I was with Little Richard. Did you see Little Richard then?
I've seen Little Richard for years, back in 1955. I graduated from Torrance High School.
Great. Did you see Little Richard at Cyril's?
I saw him there.
Yeah, I
used to see him all the time.
Yeah.
Listen, all the people, when I went to high school, the only music you listened to was the music that was presented by Hunter Hancock and Huggy Boy, and it was all black music, and I just love it. And all the old people that I used to really think were just groovy and out of sight are all coming back.
Well, it's so funny because even some colored people look at my music and say, "Is that white or black?" I said, "What do you want? What are you trying to dissect that for? Try to go by the feeling of it. It's because it's loud."
Let me tell you, it's great.
All those are things that we have to wipe away from the face of the earth before it can live in harmony.
Before I heard of you, though, I met Randy California, who told me about you.
Oh yeah, that's my friend. Him and I used to have a group
I saw
in the
him up
village.
I tried to get him a job. He was with us before the Spirit started, and he was telling me about you. Okay, I guess that's enough for that. Now here comes one you may not like. I don't know what your reasons were. I'm curious. Although you were born and raised in America, what prompted you to establish yourself in England as opposed to America? After all, it's no secret the prime source of income for you as well as other English musicians is America, not England.
Yeah, well, there was managers. I was down in the village. It was right before I quit this R&B group, because I said, well, come on down the village so we can get something together, on our own standards. Not playing behind another person that was playing behind. And they were lazy, they were scared, and plus they didn't think they was going to get paid. I said, well, quite naturally you won't get paid on the audition, because it's us, going down there, being aggressive, it's us going up, filtering down to them, So there's a few things you have to give up at the beginning. They didn't want to do that, so I just went down there and played, got Randy California together, and formed this group called the Blue Flame. And have you heard of the Animals? Well, the managers of the Animals. The Animals were in town one time doing the last gig at Central Park, doing the last gig as a group. And the bass player of the Animals, Chas Chandler and Mike Jeffries, asked if I'd like to come to England. And I'd never been to England before. That's the only reason, because I'd never been. So I went over there, because that's where I just lived my life. I'd never been to Indianapolis. So I starved my way over there, starved there. And I'd never been to, Memphis, so I starved my way down there. It just happened to happen over there, so. And plus, I could play louder over there. I could really get myself together over there. There wasn't so many hang-ups as there was in America, mental hang-ups and, things like that.
That's good. Okay. What are your plans for the future and the new experience?
Well, we're going to make our music into a religion, which it already is anyway, only solidify it, to that. And really, I'd like for us to play outside more,
Now, I understand you're going to lose, Noel, as far as I know.
Yeah, well, that's not losing, no. That's not it.
I know, he's got his own thing.
Well, because we all have our own thing, too. Plus, I want to get into a more of an earthier type of music.
I saw you play with Billy, your
new bass player.
Your new bass player. Are you going to keep Mitch?
Well, if he wants to come along, yeah. I'll keep anybody that wants to come along, as long as they're going to be contributing to the cause. I'll keep anything necessary, and it's all going to be strictly necessary for the cause.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say that I didn't think I covered?
Yeah. Well, it's good. I'm so glad that people look at our music a little more than just a little more than just a fad. And I feel really respected to do something like this. Because
hey, listen, I got news for you. Educators know it isn't a fad. They thought it was. In fact, they thought people with long hair and the strip and everything was going to be something that blew over, and
Yeah.
it grew, and they no longer even accept it as a subculture. They
Yeah.
accept it as something that is going to definitely have a change upon the whole society.
That's a
This
good
is why educators
yeah.
really, I mean, people who
Yeah.
are, thinking up here. Not,
Yeah, I know what you
we
mean.
got the other kind too,
Yeah, I know what you- I can dig
50
it.
years ago, don't confuse me with the facts. My mind's already made up types.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't say that. I'm not confusing. Well, that's a step. That's a step for the good. That's a step for good in its own right, because at least they are accepting the fact that these people are running around. And not running around, but I mean, that many people there to make that much effect. It's just best for them to let those people's those people's leaders, those people like the strips, let their leaders straighten them out. That's the best way to do it. And then harmony will come for everything, for everybody. And then progress could be made properly again. Do you realize they have a laser beam that you can put in satellites that'll circle the world, and it'll stop from any rockets in the whole world being let off in anywhere in the world? But no, they don't want to hear about these new ideas. They want to hear about the old ones, like spend up all this money and get the big missile system. That's just one of the things that I'm going to try and put this on.
Yeah, they also say that if all the money, if they took the money that they spent on defense for 2 years and put it in medical research, that they could cure every possible known disease to man.
Well, how come they don't do those things?
They don't do it.
Okay, well, there you go.
Well, I have friends who are doctors, who bitch.
Yeah.
They say there's no money. This is the only reason why disease is not cured.
Well, that's what they do. They choke their own cells. They get so greedy with money that they don't want to give it up,
Yeah.
That's silly. That's just nothing but a drug just like anything else. Matter of fact, it's one of the worst drugs. That's why I'm glad I just smoked.
Well, this is cancer or anything. They said if just enough money were put into it, they would be able to afford, because they've got the brain power. They've got
definitely.
people.
I know.
They starve people to death that are educators and researchers that could do the work for them,
Silly.
They don't give them enough money to do it.
Well, all this is probably...
It's not because I'm screaming because
No.
teachers don't get any money. That's not true. It's medical research and stuff like this. Stuff
can
like
dig
what
that.
you're talking about.
I can dig that.
It's really a shame. Of course, they're afraid to cure disease completely. You've got to. The earth would become overpopulated, I guess.
No, they got ways
They
of
feel
straightening
this
that
way.
out.
I'm a historian. They have these theories. Well, they aren't theories, but they
should legalize
feel
abortion.
that this is a natural thing, and that just like they worry about the birth rate, and they worry about. They feel that war is a good thing because it does kill off a number of people,
other
which
ways.
is a drag. I don't believe that.
There's other ways you can settle things. There's other ways how you can live. They're so block-minded. That's all part of the evolution. See, evolution of the man is changing the brain. So quite naturally you're going to have hang-ups here and there of thought, But still, the whole past is going towards a higher way of thinking, towards a clearer way of thinking. But there are still some hardheads, just like you're talking about, that think this way because they don't give their cells a chance to develop in the brain, or let the souls develop, or the emotions, That's what we're trying to stop from other people, regardless of how old you are, regardless of what age thing. You always have to have that release period, that other side of you, the creative side, regardless of what your gig might be. And pretty soon your job is going to start to be not play, but it's going to start to be more enjoyable too. And therefore, plus all this overpopulation. Well, this is a modern age, and they do have pills for this and pills for that. Just make sure those pills are proper, because some of those pills make people sick. You get an after effect, and some of these girls get very sick trying not to have babies. And who says that it's written that people are supposed to that it's a sin to what they call kill off a child or something like that? A child isn't a child until he comes out into the air. I don't think so. The rest of they have to think in a higher range of thinking. A lot of young people are, and they're gonna get together. Because a lot of these old people, all they're trying to do, they want to make themselves old, so they tie up their brains like this, And then in the process, they try to build their own heavens. They want to be written down in war history. They want to be written down in money history, all these things. And those things are nothing but jokes. In the next few years, they're going to all be jokes. And those people are going to be jokes. They're the ones, some of them should be put in cages now to be looked at, because they're getting very rare,